Hi there, this is Danielle Dunlop for Possum Stamps. Today I'm going to make a shaker card, and I have the Spring Showers Sequin Mix, Hello Sunshine Mix, and Emerald Mix. For the stamp set, I'm going with the Birthday Fishes stamp set, and I'll be using the Rays of Sunshine stencil. I'm starting by stamping my images on the background layer, and the top die cut window that you see here is going to be the window of my shaker card. So I'm using it here to see exactly where my stamps need to go. I'm starting here with the big wheel from the Birthday Fishes stamp set. This is going to be my main character of my card. And besides the wheel, I'll also be using some seagrass. And I'll stamp it 3 times. They're going to be overlapping each other a little bit. So I'm going to use some masking tape. I've got 3 sets of seagrass out of the masking tape because I'm also going to need everything covered before I do my ink blending on the background. So once I have all my seagrass stamped and covered, I'm also going to put a mask on the big wheel. For my ocean colors, I'm using a blend of Distress Ink, Selfish Patina, and Mermaid Lagoon. This is a recent favorite of mine. At first, I thought the colors would be too different to give a nice blend, but actually it turns out really cool and it's perfect for an ocean background. So here I'm finishing up the blend, going back and forth between the 2 colors. And once I'm happy with the result, I'm making sure it gets really good dry with my heat gun for the next step I'm going to apply. In my previous video for Possum Stamps, you saw me using this Rays of Sunshine stencil as well. Then I used it with the same colors as I used for my background, so the rays became a little darker than the background. This time I'm using the Hero Arts Unicorn White ink, so the rays are going to be a little lighter than the background is. And this is actually a technique that I use most often when it comes to sun rays. For this card, I decided to tilt the stencil a little bit so it looks like the sun is coming from the left top. You can also see that not all the edges are covered, which is okay, because the edges will be covered by the window of the shaker card. Now that all my inking is done, I'm taking all the masking tape off, and it's time to start coloring my images. For the seagrass, I'm using YG05, YG03, and YG01. For the wheel, I wanted some grayish color, but also with a hint of purple in it. And for those, I really like to use BV23, BV25, and BV31. And the top part of the wheel, I wanted to be the darker part, and then the bottom lighter. So I'm starting here at the top half with the darkest of these 3 colors, which is BV25. And then I'm blending that out with BV23, which is the middle color. And I'm not using the lightest color on this top part because I only want that to be the lightest color in the bottom part. So I keep going back and forth here, adding a little bit more shadow with the BV25. And then I'm blending it all out with BV23. So now I'm starting the bottom half of the wheel, and in this part I'm not using the darkest color, the BV25. So I'm laying down my shadow here with BV23, the middle color, and then I'm going to blend that one out with BV31, the lightest color. Purples can be a little difficult to get a nice blend, so I keep going back and forth between the BV23 and BV31. And that way it gives a way nicer blend, in my opinion. Because this wheel is quite a large area to cover, you get to see a little bit of brush strokes in the lighter purple. And that is something I do not really like to see. So once I have the entire area covered, I'm going to go over the whole area again, including the darker shadow part, and try to make as long as possible brush strokes. And this way, I feel like I can avoid seeing those brush strokes. It looks like a more even color blend. Once I was finished coloring the wheel, I felt like the eye was a little dull looking, so I used a black glaze pen to make that eye pop a little bit more. Now we're going to put the shaker card together. And first you're going to need a sheet of acetate to put behind your window, and I prefer to use double-sided tape for that. Once that sheet is in place, I put double-sided foam tape on the back of the window, and I like to double that layer up. So I have 2 layers of double-sided foam tape on top of each other, and I feel like the sequins will move a little better. And to avoid any sticking, I'm using an anti-static tool to go along the edges of the double-sided foam tape. Now I'm going to add my sequins, and I'm using the Spring Showers mix, Emerald mix, and Hello Sunshine mix. And what I learned along the way is to avoid putting too many shaker bits in there. That's what I used to do when I started making shaker cards. And you can hardly see the image behind the window actually when you put too much in there. So now we can take the backings of the double-sided foam tape, and I'm leaving this window flat on my desk, and I put the background on top of it. So I cannot mess around with any of the sequins, nothing can fall out. And I'm just going to line it up and stick it all together. So now it's time for a first test run to see if all the shaker bits are moving around well, and they seem to do so. And I just love to see these moving around over that image. Next, I'm going to create the sentiment, and I'm using the A Wish, A Splash, A Birthday Bash from the same Birthday Wishes stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it on a sheet of white cardstock. And I placed it as far as possible to the bottom of the sheet because I want to cut a strip. And the bottom is perfectly in place already, so I only need to trim it off at the top. And I really like to use this Tim Holtz tonic trimmer for that. My sentiment is going to be placed in different parts of the card, so I'm going to trim it into 3 different pieces. I have the A Wish, and then the A Splash, and then a Birthday Bash. On each of these strips, I'm going to put some double-sided tape because some of them are going to be stuck to the acetate, and I'm not sure how well that will go with some liquid glue. So I went for double-sided tape, and it's stuck on there perfectly. So I have the first part of the sentiment right there at the top, and then the last part is going right here at the bottom. And then my card is finished. And of course I have to shake it again because I just can't help myself, and a shaker card needs to be shaken, right? So I hope you enjoyed watching this all come together. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe to the Possum Stamps channel. And I hope to see you all next time. Bye bye.